Hello everybody, welcome back to the internet's best reactions to the Spanish Grand Prix. Yes, we're talking about everything that went on at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, and you have to say, before I see it's the worst race I've ever seen, it wasn't actually that bad. Let's be real here, our expectations were quite low for Catalunya, and we had a fight for the lead. A lot of it was around strategy, but generally speaking, it was alright. And you know what was also alright? Your reactions. Let's dive into them right now. First up, we have Carter Cottons, Max stealing the lead on lap 1. Of course, we're starting at the very beginning, and, well, that could have ended so much worse had Lewis not turned out of that. My goodness me. Lewis kind of got a decent-ish start, but Max was better off the line. Lewis seemed to have a bit more power down towards turn 1, but Max just sent it up the inside. Just full on, full beans, Max Verstappen, I believe I can win the title, send it up the inside. And fair play, you know, it was borderline rude, you have to say, but it wasn't illegal. And Lewis just had to get out of it. And, well, we had a great race on our hands. If Lewis had kept the lead into turn 1, I don't think we would have had anywhere near as much excitement. But yeah, Max sent it. You know who also sent it? Charles Leclerc at R-Done-0. Valtteri Bottas race weekend so far. Of course, Valtteri third on the grid, you know, a tenth and a half off in quali, and then just got one of his Valtteri Bottas starts. You just know that there's going to be the occasional one where Bottas doesn't get a great start and then gets swallowed by the midfield. It didn't exactly get swallowed, but he still lost a position to Leclerc, which was enormous, like huge for his race, because he was then stuck behind the Ferrari that wasn't on the pace with the two out in front, and then it just ruined his life. Maybe not his life, he still gets paid rather handsomely, but you get what I mean. Who has won Tweet of the Week? We're already at Tweet of the Week. Yes, I know. This is probably the earliest Tweet of the Week ever, but that's because it's a banger. And it goes to MS_9197. Leclerc tried to fight with Mercedes. Look, you just know how to work me, don't you? Miss Toast, as this person's called. Using The Office and then also using F1 memes integrated into a GIF. It was just perfect. And Leclerc kind of just popped himself up into P3. You know, passion was intensifying on my end. But yeah, you know, he did a great job in that Ferrari, and so did MS_9197. Congratulations and well done on winning an amazing Fanatec prize. Another driver that really impressed me this weekend, and generally speaking just his entire progression since starting in Formula 1, is Mick Schumacher at Team Michelle 207. Mick going up to 16th on the start. I think Haas in general have started to take small steps forward. They've already said that they're not going to be developing their car and they're putting their full focus into the new regs next year. But it looks less of a dog to drive, especially in Mick Schumacher's hands. And, you know, he's sticking it not on the last row of the grid. And generally speaking, his confidence is starting to build, it looks like. And I'm kind of excited. If you know me, you know I'm a big Michael Schumacher fanboy. So seeing his son do so amazingly well is, yeah, it's starting to get the feels. Now, a man we spoke to not too long ago this week, actually, is Yuki Sonoda, at Munford1999, seeing Yuki's car coming to a halt. I can actually hear this gif. If you've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you can probably hear it too. But a bit sad for Yuki. He didn't really get enough. He needs races under his belt, really. He needs to get that mileage in that AlphaTauri. You know, he showed so much promise at the start, and then he kind of started overdriving a little bit, and now it's almost the other side of the spectrum where, you know, he's a little bit maybe too not aggressive. Good English, Matt. But you get what I mean. I feel like Yuki's maybe pulled it back a little bit too much. But then maybe that's what he needs to kind of develop and just slowly increment his way to a more aggressive style. But, you know, just get used to Formula 1, Yuki. You've shown your potential. You've shown your pace. And I think Helmut Marko and, you know, the whole Red Bull family can appreciate that. And, yeah, he needs to start taking some more steps forward. But obviously, DNF today couldn't really do much about it. Noah 7555050, Yuki's car stops. Everyone with emotions watching. I love how Noah's included everyone with emotions. So everyone that didn't have emotions didn't feel anything because they didn't have emotions. Seems pretty logical. At Preciser, pit stop time. Now, I don't know if I'm just, you know, happy Formula One's back and, you know, just enjoying the fact that, you know, it's quite a close fight at the front between Verstappen and Hamilton, but I didn't think it was a bad race for Spain. Like, no, okay, it wasn't overtake after overtake after overtake, but you had the suspense of the strategy unfolding and the fact that Hamilton couldn't get past. He then was forced into another strategy with Mercedes, and I thought it was quite nicely poised for pretty much the entirety of the race. And as I said at the start, if Hamilton had been in the lead, then maybe it would have been very different. But for me, I thought it was a good race, a solid, definitely above average Spanish Grand Prix. So let me know in the comment section below. Did you think it was a good or bad race for Spain's standards, and then I guess for a race standards? I thought it was all right. Now, there was a moment in the race where Max Verstappen pitted. Lewis was putting all kinds of pressure on Max, and we thought that he was going to pit the next lap after Max had that really slow pit stop. But then Lewis came upon a Haas driver under the name of Nikita Mazepin at avoiding TMRW. Blue flags. Mazepin. He hasn't had the best running form with blue flags and sort of adhering to those rules, has he, Nikita? Because, well, I feel like there is a miscommunication in the team radio as well. There's been a few moments where he hasn't known about a blue flag, and Perez wasn't a great example of that in Portugal, and Mick Schumacher as well. Yeah, it just seems like the Haas aren't fully functioning and fluid at the moment with everything, but still, you've got mirrors, mate. You've got mirrors. Another Mazepin meme at Formula Reaction. Mazepin everywhere. I love that meme so much that genuinely any kind of format, it just makes me chuckle. So yeah, well done Formula Reaction. And that in turn introduced us to a new feature, which was listening to the team principals talking to the FIA at _James Curtis _ FIA to team principal radio messages. Kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? Just Toto just having a go at Michael Massey for blue flags. I want more of that. I want so much more of that. In fact, I could just have a running feed of Toto Wolff talking for 66 laps of the Spanish Grand Prix, and I would be happy. I wouldn't need commentary. I wouldn't need anything. Just Toto Wolff in my life. So after Verstappen stopped, we all thought that Hamilton was going to come in the next lap, but he didn't. He carried on for quite a significant amount of time. And then he pitted, caught up to Verstappen, and we thought, you know, maybe this is it. Maybe he's just going to sit behind and not going to be able to get past. But then they pulled out a masterstroke at Alec94. Oh, hello, Lewis pit stop. And then another person comes in at Jillsy Bear. Anybody else sensing deja vu? Of course, referring to Hungary 2019. If you didn't see that race, pretty much exactly the same thing. Verstappen was leading. Hamilton couldn't get past, but there was a big gap behind him where he could just basically get a free pit stop and then attack with fresher tyres. And that's exactly what he did. And it's kind of... Look, I'm not going to turn this into a Perez bash because I know he had a shoulder injury and he wasn't great this weekend, and you know he's still getting used to that Red Bull. But there's a certain amount of time where Red Bull are going to be asking themselves, have we made the right decision again? Because Perez really needed to slot himself into that quite big gap in qualifying between Bottas and Leclerc and just get into P4, and then he has a good opportunity for at least to cause some problems for Mercedes, but it just didn't happen. So that allowed Mercedes to do whatever they wanted, and it was just more like Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly when they were both at Red Bull vibes. So it's just a bit frustrating. If Red Bull had two cars in the mix, Mercedes wouldn't have been able to do that. This was quite funny, and of course this person is using Mr. Bean at RealYardyF1. Don't hold him up, Bottas. Of course, this is to do with when Hamilton pitted and the only car in between himself and Verstappen was Bottas. And I thought Bottas was just going to fall off the track, personally. I genuinely thought that he would just let him go. And, he's had a pretty rough start to the season as Valtteri. And no, he just didn't get out the way. And through turn 10, the new reprofiled turn 10, it was quite close. And Bottas kind of turned in and they were side by side. Of course, he didn't race him hard, but he certainly didn't make it easy, did he? And I wonder what the whole conversation would have been like had Hamilton lost out to Verstappen by a second or something. Obviously, it didn't happen, and I'm sure Bottas will get away with it, but didn't make it easy, did he? At podium positions, Lewis, I might not have any tyres at the end. Everyone. Me included. I did think, okay, or maybe he's pushed a bit too hard, but then you just looked at Verstappen who'd just been left out there on the mediums, and you thought, there's no way in hell that Hamilton's going to have worse tyres than Verstappen, and that's exactly what his engineer said as well. He said, well, Verstappen's going to have worse tyres. He was like, yeah, fair enough, which you don't usually hear from Lewis, but yeah, wasn't actually a problem, was it? Let's move away from the fight for the lead, which was pretty much the majority of the action in terms of the suspense. And that was the fight for the final point at Connor K46554115. the battle for the final point. That was hectic. You had Alonso just kind of lingering out there on 1,000-lap-old mediums, and then going side by side with Stroll, and then that was a little bit hectic, and then there's investigations into that, which doesn't really matter anyway. None of them scored points, and then Gasly coming through on much fresher softs, and Kimi Raikkonen was just there, getting involved as well. And you don't usually see that many cars in such close formation around the Spanish Grand Prix. So that was a nice bit of action, I have to say. So yeah, rather enjoyed it. At It's Mary Work sums it up pretty nicely. The midfield right now. If only it was like that at the front as well, eh? I mean, stop complaining, Matt. It was a good Spanish Grand Prix. What's wrong with you? At _Kayla_Knight_ lap 60 Hamverbot. Of course you've used the video of me in a dressing gown. Of course you have. But I have to kind of include it because it's a good meme. I enjoy it, Kayla. Well done. At Sup Micah L, finally seeing Ricciardo do well. I knew we would see the real Danny Rick again. Yeah, he had a great weekend. I've been quite critical of Danny Rick because I think we all expected a little bit more from him, but he's beating Lando 3-1 in qualifying now. Lando really didn't extract the most out of the McLaren this weekend, and then of course got stuck in all sorts of traffic. But Danny Rick, he made a couple of positions up at the start, and then of course couldn't hold back Perez, but generally speaking, a really strong weekend from Danny Rick, and he was quite upbeat as well in interviews, and it's nice to see Danny Rick do well. So what were the learnings from this weekend? At David Music Teach, that damn chicane, yes. Unless there's a literal reason, which I think is to do with safety and the fact that, that fast right-hander just wouldn't be safe because of the distance between the track and the barrier and the speeds, it's worked out that way. There clearly must be a reason other than the chicane looks nice, which no one's ever said. So clearly it just doesn't work, and well, will they change it? It depends on safety. And another one is at Tommy Tangu. Every driver in DRS range, but not really being within the 0.5 seconds needed, which was down to turns 14 and 15. It was just tantalisingly close, wasn't it? There was a few moves of Lando defending from Sainz, which was a little bit late, and then you had Gasly as well, I think, overtaking and having to react so quickly. It wasn't to Lando, I believe that was to Stroll. I might be wrong, but I say lots of things happened, but it was kind of a bit of a mix and just a bit of a jumble when I was commentating as well for F1 TV. Thought I'd just pop that one in there. So sorry if I missed something. I apologise, but I've had a great weekend, and I hope you have too. I think to sum it up, at Formula Uno does it pretty beautifully. It's happened again. Max in P1 cruising to a win. Mercedes strategy. And it all comes down to just Perez needs to pick his game up. He does. I was critical of Albon. I was critical of Gasly when he was in the Red Bull. I have to be critical of Perez as well. I expected a bit more from him. Yes, he has had some difficult weekends. Don't get me wrong. Imola was, horrendous for weather conditions, and he's still getting his head around that Red Bull. But, how many races are we going to give him until he's supposed to be better? Because they can't have half a season of Perez not doing great, because Red Bull aren't going to win the Constructors, and most likely not the drivers either, if he can't support Max. So yeah, a bit savage, but I think it's a fair judgment. Right, social media team championship time now. When look, some of you social media managers for the teams, which I know you watch, probably not, but it's fine, need to pick up your game. There wasn't enough banter. There's still a top 3, and we'll dive into it right now, but do better, please. I want to give out points because I'm happy, and I feel like there wasn't enough of a plethora. That's a big word. Not even actually the big of a word. Of tweets to really go through. Anyway, let's get into the top 3. In third place, we have AlphaTauri with, Yuki Sonoda is he's got an amazing personality, he's really funny, and anything to do with his food, I'm going to give a point to. Not all the time, so don't start using that, AlphaTauri, but you get 1 point for just Yuki Sonoda's passion for food. I love it. In second place, we have Mercedes AMG F1 with a short yet effective tweet. It's very short. It's one emoji. It was a grimacing face. We all knew exactly what it was for. Of course, Bottas not letting Hamilton through, getting very, very dicey from Valtteri, but still, it made me laugh because it was very simple and yet very, very effective. 2 points. And the winners of the Social Media Team Championship are Haas F1 team. They were replying to Mercedes after they said, "Who wants to change their phone wallpapers?" And Haas said, "Thanks, but we'll leave ours as it is." And of course, it's Gunther Steiner. Maximum points. Well done, Haas. That's 1 point for AlphaTauri, 2 points for Mercedes AMG F1, and 3 points for Haas F1 team.
And now it's time for Race Rundown.
Right, I'll be completely honest with you guys. Recording stopped, and I did the entirety of Race Rundown, and none of it recorded. Literally none of it recorded. I'm checking, it's still recording, thank God. Let's do the Race Rundown, because I literally took 10 minutes blowing up, and it didn't even record. Nice. The finishers of the Spanish Grand Prix were Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Leclerc, Perez, Ricciardo, Sainz, Norris, Ocon, Gasly, Stroll, Raikkonen. Oh, I almost. I mean, it wouldn't have been first time because I had 42 beforehand, but it was a good first attempt. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Leclerc, Perez, Ricciardo, Sainz, Norris, Ocon, Gasly. Oh no. No. I literally went through a breakdown about 10 minutes ago. I can't go through another one. Hamilton, Verstappen. It's Hamilton, Verstappen. It's just not very easy to say really quickly. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Leclerc, Perez, Ricciardo. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Leclerc. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Leclerc, Perez. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Leclerc. It's that bit. It literally blows my brain up. Hamilton, Verstappen. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Leclerc, Perez, Ricciardo, Sainz, Norris, Ocon, Gasly, Stroll, Raikkonen, Vettel, Russell, Giovinazzi, Latifi, Alonso, Schumacher, Mazepin! Yes! And the non-finishers were Sonoda. Right, there you have it. That is the internet's best reactions done and dusted. The Spanish Grand Prix is complete, and it wasn't actually that bad of a race, was it? Come on, you can't be horrible about it. It was decent. If you want to get involved next time, use the hashtag WTF1 on social media, and we will choose the very best ones to be featured in a couple of weeks' time for the Monaco Grand Prix. So I imagine a lot of sleeping gifs are heading our way, sleeping memes as well. So if you want to win an amazing Fanatec prize, then make sure you do the best tweet, and I choose it for Tweet of the Week. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching once again, and we'll see you very soon for the Monaco Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye! Bye-bye! Bye! I'm trying to wave not too wide because of the green screen. You lose my hand. Goodbye.